Welcome back to another edition of Season Predictions as we review the offseason and looking forward to the schedule of the Cincinnati Bengals. Last year, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase were on a tear. They re-signed those guys. They having a little trouble with. They worked on their defense, which I think was dead last. They got a new defensive coordinator. So to me, it just can't get any worse. So if they have a little look, it can go from 32 to maybe like 25, and I think they'll win a lot of those closer games. Burrow needs to cut down on the mistakes. They did re-sign Mike Gesicki, the two tackles, so Mims will be starting at right. Left tackle is Orlando Brown Jr. I'm not too fond of their interior offensive line. Their defensive line, I'm not too fond of that either, but the linebackers, they got rid of a long time Jermaine Pratt, and they got a rookie Knight Rice or something like that, junior. And then at DB, Dax Hill is coming back to play the slot corner with Cam Taylor-Britt is definitely a locked on corner. Geno Stone, hopefully he adapts to the new defense coordinator's system better, because I think he wasn't really just a fit like he was with the Ravens. And then I think the other safety was Jordan Battle. Yeah, he was coming into his own. So I think it'll work together with Eric McPherson being a great kicker in this league. With that being said, let's dive right into it. Week 1, I know the talk was always like, the Bengals, they start terrible. Well, they kind of, other than the defense, the offense is kind of flying under the radar. T. Higgins is in camp, is going to be in camp. Jamar Chase is going to be there. Joe Burrow is going to be there. The offensive line is going to be taking reps together. And with that, I think they're going to sneak up. I know the Browns have a good defense, but they don't know who their quarterback is. So even if it is Joe Flacco, he had a lot of losses against the Bengals. So I don't know if that's going to help him or anything, but I think the Bengals win this game with the spread being like 5.5 right now. I would definitely jump all over it. So week 1, I have them winning. Week 2, they are, and Joe Burrow's like 1-3 at the Brown Stadium. So I think that's going to change. But yeah, that's a win. And then week 2, I have them going to the Jaguars. I know it's going to be hot out there, but so Travis Hunter off the back. Travis Hunter at receiver, got to route up Cam Taylor-Britt, and he has to guard T. Higgins or Jamar Chase. We going to see if it's going to hold up for sure. I have the Bengals winning at the end of the day. I'm sorry. I just have them winning. In week 3, I'm not too high on the Minnesota Vikings this year. I'm sorry. J.J. McCarthy, unless he proves me that he's just a superstar or just comes out of a shell and just hits a tear in the beginning of the season, I think he's going to have some young growing pains, like first live action. Bengals start 3-0, and here comes the rocky part. Week 4, I know last year they beat the Broncos, but I think the Broncos already had their game plan, like they were going to win. No matter what, they were just being vanilla. They didn't want to show too much. So I think the Broncos are going to be a better, well-rounded team with a better defense. So if you say the two offenses cancel each other out, which defense would you take, the Broncos or the Bengals? Of course, everybody would take the Broncos. So with that, I'm going to say the Broncos are going to win that game in week 4. Week 5, I think the Lions are due for regression, and Jared Goff does not play as good as he does on the road at home, as he does at home. So I think it's going to be a shootout. I'm not still Aiden Hutchinson. They could say he's on the field, but sometimes those injuries take time. He just came back a little too fast for me. So I have the Bengals winning that one. Week 6, I'm 6 versus the Packers. I have the Bengals winning because the Packers, they have a good front seven, but they DBs, other than they safeties, man, I ain't gonna lie. Joe Burrow's gonna be licking his chops. I'm telling you, he is gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm finna tat him up. Because I the over on all their games. Any team that passes the ball, other than like the Chargers or run dominant teams, bet the over. A lot of teams are gonna have a lot of yards on them for sure. 7, short week. I know it's at home, but I have them losing to the Steelers. I think just the same thing as I said with the Broncos. I have a little more faith in if the offenses cancel each other out, I have a little more faith in the off defense of the Steelers. So I got to go with the Steelers on that one. Short week. And then coming off the short week, a 10-day rest, they play the Jets. So the Jets, I mean, Sauce Gardner can only guard one of them, as Jamar Chase said, 1A or 1B. So he can either guard T. Higgins because he's longer, taller, or he can guard Jamar Chase. And then T. Higgins is going to feast on Brandon Stevens, what he's been doing in the division. So I got the Bengals winning that one. Then week 9, I have them losing to the Bears. Same thing. I think the Bears defense is going to be a little bit better. They got Dennis Allen as defensive coordinator. He's a defensive mind. And Ben Johnson is going to be, I think Caleb is going to be a little bit better. They have a good trio of receivers that the Bengals, I don't think they're going to be able to cover. And then they go on a bye week. Coming out the bye, of course, I'm a slight Zach Taylor fan, so I'm going to go with the Steelers. I mean, the Bengals beating the Steelers coming out the bye. You know, good coaches, they come out with a new game plan or a new wrinkle or anything that just gets them over the hump for the playoff push. Week 12, I have them beating the Patriots. The Patriots, they kind of just don't have a lot of firepower, so I think Joe Burrow and them just have more firepower than them, so they can outscore them. And then on a short week, I have them losing to the Ravens on a Thursday night game. Joe Burrow expressed his problem with it, like, why can't we get one of those primetime games in Cincinnati? But they got it in Baltimore again, and you know Lamar and John Harbaugh are pretty good in primetime, so that's going to be an L. Week 14, I have them going to the Bills' house and smoking them. Last time they played in Buffalo, they won. I mean, they just got the recipe to the Sean McDermott defense down packed. Joe Burrow, he just going to go out there and light it up. The Bills DB's not that great as well. They front seven is pretty good, but the DBs are not that good. So week 15 versus the Ravens, I think at home, I think they get the Ravens this time. Maybe like some kicker woes. Like I said, last year they had a shootout and Justin Tucker had to hit like a 57-yarder, something like that. I don't know if Tyler Loop is going to be able to hit it that early, or you know he been missing in camp, so we just gonna say it's not a guarantee like it was. And then week 16 at Dolphins, the Dolphins DBs, this is a passing league. They DBs, they just traded Jalen Ramsey. They do have a fierce pass rush, so if the pass rush get there, maybe they don't have to cover as long, but I just can't see it. I think Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are going to feast on them as well. Week 17, I got them going on a hot streak. I got them beating the Cardinals. The date and time is to be determined, but I think it's going to be like an early game. So West Coast coming East Coast for a 12 o'clock game. The Cardinals are going to lose. And then week 18, I have them already locked up in the playoffs, in their playoff position. So they give the Browns the win. They rest their starters. And I have them going 12-5, tied with the Baltimore Ravens. So they're going to have to determine tiebreakers or however that is. But I'm a Ravens fan, so I'm going to put the Ravens above them. But they bounce back, make the playoffs with a slightly improved defense.